Hello, good afternoon. It's good afternoon for me. It's the most beautiful afternoon, not too hot, not too cold, little bit of a breeze. It's lovely. I thought I'd come on board and do this week's chinwag. My name's Penny. I live in the southeast of England with my husband Pete, my 4 chickens, and my mum's often here or I'm often round there, and she does a little bit for the episodes too. We're doing 1935. Well, we've done 1935. We're doing 1936 through to 1939. So we're ready to do 1940 next time. Just the interesting things that happened in those years. I glided over the war, obviously a couple of bits, but it's not really about the war. It's about how Mum's experiences were then. She was born in 1926. And then she got up after our little chat and sat down and played a tune at the piano. And I just happened to have my phone and I recorded it. So, as you all know, Mum's lost her sight. So I always think it's a joy when she can just sit down and relax and play. And so that's our ending this week. Oh, I've done some baking. Paul Hollywood made some banana bread or loaf, or it's like a cake, and I don't like banana cake or bread. I don't like the taste of cooked bananas. However, I thought I'd try this. It's slightly different and I love it. Well, I had a bit for lunch. Pete popped out, so don't tell him. But yes, I cut it all up, put it in between greaseproof, and then that goes in the freezer, and then 15 seconds just in the microwave, and it's delicious, each slice. So I can vouch for that. It's delicious. You need 4 ripe bananas, and we had them. So yeah, so that's coming up. And what else? Just what I've made. Haven't made that much, but I've made, I'm not a machine, same as all of us. Sometimes it just looks a lot more because it's the finishings of things. But I've just been starting some things, although I have finished something. First of all, I've got to say that this is my 53rd episode. And as I said last week, I've done 52 episodes in that last year. And I was so pleased to do it. And the response I got to that was just heartwarming. That's all I can say. Some really beautiful messages. So thank you very much. And yes, of course, I'm going to carry on for as long as I can. It might not be weekly if I need to have some weeks off. It might be, who knows? I take every day as it comes. The other thing I wanted to talk about was what I used to, well, if you don't know, if this is your first time of joining, I was a counsellor for the NHS for a good many years. And I used to ask my clients, how do you feel? What do you want? What do you need? And what that does is it puts the person in touch with themselves. And that's a very good thing for sorting out washing machine head. Or sometimes when we don't know what's going on, how to make sense of it, or sometimes we feel a little bit like that, don't we? How do I feel? And it's surprising how many people don't know those feeling words. They'll say, oh, okay, or not so good. Well, actually, can we just have a bit, I'm feeling, what could we say? Anxious, happy, sad, overwhelmed, grateful. Yes. How did I feel when I got all your messages? I felt emotional. Yeah. How do I feel? So think of a good feeling word. And we can do this any time of the day, just to put ourselves in touch with ourselves. And then if we need any help, we're in a good position to do it, rather than wait for it to go much further and then have to deal with a whole lot more. How do I feel? Yeah, grateful. I felt humbled. I felt a little bit overwhelmed. Very pleased, very happy. There, lots of words. What did I want? Well, I wanted to carry on with Chinwag because I'm enjoying it, and I think you are now by the sounds of it, so thank you. So, yeah, I want to carry on. What do I need to do? Well, I need to maybe jot down what I'm doing this week. Have I got any time this week? I need to make sure I'm not under pressure. I need to get an episode done. No. What I need is to be able to look after myself. And that might mean an episode goes up once a fortnight, or maybe it'll even be 3 weeks at one point. I don't know. But I need to be able to look after myself. So I feel I want, yes, I want to keep well. I want to do Chinwag, but what I need to do is to be able to, say to myself, well, you're a bit up against it this week. This is going on or that's going on. Yeah, maybe I'll just do a very short one and tell you what's happening, and that'll be it. Or maybe there'll be, 2 weeks, or as I've said, even more. Who knows? But yes, it's about looking after myself. But how can I look after myself unless I've initially said, how do I feel? I know some feeling words. So they're a good thing. I used to give my clients a whole list of feeling words. Sometimes, when you're in a bit of a tizzy, you can't say how you're feeling. Look down this long list. Can you choose a word there that you can identify with? So that's always a help. So it might be something you'd like to do too. So, as regards crafting this week, I've made the mini macaron purse. I got it from Rose Garden Patchwork, and I've been very, very pleased with it. I've done a little video of how I put it together, and I thought you might find that interesting. From the kit, which is very reasonable, I think it's $12.99. I've got all that fabric left and all that fabric left. So she gives you so much. What else have I got here? I've got all these beads left. So I've got plenty, I can make another couple. It comes with more than this one, but it's in the other room. It comes with this lovely, let's turn it round. Yeah. I didn't want to put that with it. I'm going to put that on one of my project bags or something else. It's got enough with it. So I've got that little pile of stuff, and this is it. You're going to love it. Can you see it well? Can you see all those little beads? They're minuscule. Good job I've got the needles. Tiny, tiny fine needle I needed. This for me is enough. This hanging down too would just be a step too far. But for other people, it's super. It all comes with. And a little pom-pom and another couple of dingle-dangles. And then the back. I didn't put so I showed you that side, didn't I, with the beads? And then that's the other side. It's so cute. I mean, of course, you can put any fabric on there. So the zips that she sells, there's the Japanese zips, and they're so easy. They just slip open, but they're not thin, and inside, my rings and earrings in there, it holds a good deal. Let me open it up. Here we are. Open it right up, and I lined it with the little cat. In all honesty, to make that took me 3.5 hours. I think they're lovely gifts. And then I'm making Edward the Sloth. Oh, he's going to be gorgeous. And this is his head. Of course, he has two eyes there. And this is his body. That's where you sew the legs on. She gives you that. And I'm knitting his dressing gown. It's like knitting with a cloud. And this is his dressing gown. So you start at the top. And then you put these sleeves. I've got to find the stitches in there. She did say put them on a stitch holder, not on bits of wool, but I didn't have any to hand, so I've got to find those stitches. I will. So, and then knit the two sleeves, and then I've knitted one half. That is going to just overlap there. Can you see? I've got to knit that bit, but this bit's just going to overlap and make that, and that's going to hang over the top like a dressing gown with a flap. And then turn the collar over, and there it is. It'll look much better on him. I do them on, well, this, she said do it on a 375, and I do it on a 325. I find when I'm knitting these small things that my tension's a bit loose. And I was watching another podcast where she'd made the fox, and his coat had turned out too big for him, or her. It was for her. And it's a beautiful coat. It's got a linen effect. I do want to make it. But show me something in that book I don't want to make. But she said it was too big for him, for her, the fox, this linen coat. And I did message and say, I do go down that needle size. Depends, your tension might be fine. But I mentioned last week, we need to get the tension right, otherwise the clothes don't fit. And they need to fit. So there's still quite a bit there to do, obviously, knitting Edward the Sloth and knitting his pyjamas and his little slippers. And then I've got Maisie the pig's little shoes to knit. So yeah, there's quite a bit in the pipeline. What I'm going to put up now is a little video of me making this. What you have to do first of all is sew your zip round together and then enclose your raw edges, which I've done. Can you see that? I've just folded that fabric in, Right, so now I've got to run round either side of the zip. So now I've gathered round the zip, and hopefully that's going to fit my mini macaron. We'll see. I don't know, we'll see. So what I've done is I've cut a circle of the fabric. You put the interfacing on the inside. Then you get your mini macaron, gather round the outside edge of the circle and pull it together. As you can see there, I just did a little running stitch and then just to secure it across. So now I'm going to do that for the other side and the insides too. Oh, yes, I'm thrilled to bits with it so far. Here we've got one side, and it's sewed very easily because the zip opens up, as you can see, and you just catch it. There's little knobbly bits on the side of the zip, and you just catch it round and round. I mean, it's quite flat. And you just catch it to the outside. I'm now going to do the same with this one, and I'm going to catch it to the outside of that zip. Now, because I have got a glue stick, I thought, why not put glue on the zip, and then that will just hold it in place while I stitch it round. So that's what I've done. That's what I'm going to do with this one. I'll show you when it's finished. It's gone together so well, look. I just stitched round the edge there, and I've got that, and it does that beautifully. It's so cute. Now I've got to do the inside. I've just cut the interfacing out there with a circle, and as you can see, gathered it round. I'm going to do 2 of those, and then you pop that inside, and that sew it again round the zip, and that's your lining. Yeah, that's going to work. What I've bought this for is I'm always taking my rings on and off, you know, especially in the summer, but often I think, oh, I've got to get those off. And I thought that would be ideal, just to have in my handbag and pop my rings in, or my earrings. Sometimes I have to get those out too. So it is indeed beautiful, and as you've seen, I've shown you, it's really lovely, and I can recommend the little kit. So I'm going to do a fascinating fact now. It's about the fruit fly, because after the fascinating fact, I'm going to make some banana bread, or I think it's a cake anyway, but well, it is. It's cake, banana, chocolate, and orange cake, and truly delicious it is. But I want to talk about the fruit fly first of all, and about a chap called Michael Dickinson. He's discovered that one type of fly, the fruit fly, is able to make turns similar to those made by fighter jets, but in a fraction of a second. At birth, they can fly like an ace, he says. It's like putting a newborn baby in the cockpit of a fighter aircraft and it knowing what to do. Researchers filmed the fly's aerobatics and found that they flap their wings 200 times per second. Yet a single wing beat is sufficient to reorient their bodies and begin an escape. And what about response time? Researchers found that these flies can react to a threat 50 times faster than a human can blink. The fly performs a very sophisticated calculation in a very short amount of time to determine where the danger lies and exactly how to bank for the best escape. How the fruit fly's tiny brain can do this is an engineering mystery that researchers want to solve. So he has actually, have you heard of TED Ed? They do short little talks, and this Michael Dickinson has done a short little talk on the fruit fly because it's been his life's work to try and find out how he can turn and how he can fly within the blink of our eye. And whilst I was listening to that talk, I realised that fruit flies, they don't eat our fruit, our ripe bananas, but what they do is they just lay their eggs. And they do a very good job of it too. So yes, fortunately we don't suffer too much from that, but I know some countries it's a real problem. So now let's go and do some banana bread or banana cake. I don't like banana bread. I like bananas. I eat a banana a day. Good magnesium, potassium, all of that. But I don't like banana bread. However, I know a lot of people do. So I thought I'd make some to put in the freezer. But I thought I'd make it with Paul Hollywood's recipe and see what that turns out like. So first of all, you need 4 really ripe, I was going to say tomatoes, bananas. And they've got to be ripe because you have to mash them all down. And mine really were ripe. I had 4 and I want to use them up. So let me get a spoon. Right, so I mashed up 4 bananas. Well, I didn't, I mashed up 3. That's 3 bananas. And if I take that one out the way, you'll be able to see. That's it. Now into that, I have 125 grams of butter. It's lovely and soft because the weather here is still lovely. £125 grams of butter and 250 grams of sugar. I think that's a lot of sugar, but never mind, that's what the recipe calls for, caster sugar, 250. So I'm putting that in and I'm going to mix that round. I'll just give it a start. Because my bananas were really, really ripe, I mean, it's just gone absolutely to cream, as you can see, so quickly. I then add 2 eggs. Our darling chickens laid those eggs. 1, 2. And I'm going to mix that in. Then I think it was 150 grams of flour. If it's something different, I'll put it on the screen. But I think that it's 150 grams of flour and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So I'm going to sieve that because it just, I think, gets the air in. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'm not a girl of habit, I can't stand it. I go a different way every time. Right, well, it's probably why we got lost crossing the road, wasn't it? I'm just going to stir that in, fold it in, you know, or just gently stir it in. Because it's quite liquidy with those bananas. You can see it, can't you? I hope you can. So this takes 10 minutes to make, as per usual, but Paul Hollywood says it's going to take an hour to bake. So I'll let you know how long mine does, and then maybe Sarah will come along and do a bit of taste testing. Without a written statement. I don't know if he likes banana bread. It's not something I usually make. Right, that's all nicely in now. And now what you add, which I think is slightly different, maybe other recipes say it too. I've got the zest of an orange, which smells lovely. The zest of an orange, that's gone in. Can you see? Yes. And some chocolate chips. He says 75. They're lovely, those ones. Plain. 75 grams of chocolate chips. So I'm just going to fold that in. He says you want good chocolate chips because then when they melt, they'll come back together, so you'll get little hard bits of chocolate in. It won't melt all through the cake. So that's come together lovely. It's as simple as that. So now I'm going to pour it in my loaf tin, which I've got some grease-proof in. That's quite good for kids, isn't it? I know it's got the sugar in it. You could try it with less and see what happens. I don't make for children at the minute. My grandchildren are grown up. I don't see my little one because she lives up the line. And Tommy's too young. There we are. Tastes nice. Oh, that orange makes a bit of a difference. And then my fourth banana, I lay on the top, he says. So I've cut it in half and I'm just going to lay it on the top. It's broken in pieces, I don't suppose that'll matter. Just like that. Bob's your uncle. I'll show you. Let me see. There we are. So I'm going to pop that in the oven and I'll let you know how long it takes in my oven. He says an hour on 160 fan or 180 ordinary. And so I cook on electric and I cook 180. I'll see you in a minute then. Right, I've just lifted that out. As you can see, that's why you need the grease proof. It does smell gorgeous. We're filming.
Oh, are we?
Yeah. So I'm just going to give you a bit, if you'd like to get a plate, and you can taste test.
Taste test?
Yeah, I don't need a written statement.
There
we are. Oh, it smells divine. It smells of orange.
Not banana.
Well, see what you think.
Oh, I've got the end bit.
Yeah, you like the end bit.
Yeah. My brother always liked the end bit.
All right. It's not quite cold. Let me lower it. I'm just going to eat those crumbs and then I'm going to...
Lovely.
Oh, it's divine.
Yeah.
I don't like banana cake or banana bread.
Well,
That's gorgeous. All right, why is it gorgeous? Hang on, I'll tell you.
it's got a tang to it of the orange.
That doesn't taste of banana.
No.
That tastes of orange, chocolate, with a hint of banana. So if that's for you,
That's for me.
oh my goody aunt,
You think naturally it comes out of her ears.
we will. Oh, if you've got...
You're telling me I've got to go on a diet?
Oh no, he has. 4 ripe bananas, an orange, zest. Oh, it's gorgeous, isn't it? It is truly good. Thank you, Paul Hollywood. And in the show notes below, I will put all the... Well, I told you them, but I'll also write it out. And that's not even cold.
This would be nice when it's cold, it'll firm up a bit.
It will.
Oh, nice chocolate. What chocolate was that?
That was just, I got from Sainsbury's, just a little
Patchwork.
packet of chocolate chips.
Oh yeah, I saw those.
Well, I can't speak highly enough for that. That is gorgeous. Right, I'll say cheerio. See you in the next bit.
I just walked into the table.
Oh dear. Right, bye then. Well, I hope you enjoy it if you choose to make it. It's certainly delicious. So we're going to mosey on round to Mum's now, and I'm going to do some history together. I'll see you then. I'll see you there. Well, hello with Mum again.
Hello, and hello to you. It's lovely to be here again.
Now you're going to start off this week because you had a bit of a crossword clue. Mum's a crossword person, aren't you?
Yes, and I do a crossword called the very crossword, the make you very crossword. The clue was flip a bear and make a plaything. And I tried to work it out. No, I thought about it all day. I couldn't, and so I had to look for the answer the next day.
Flip a bear.
Yes, to make a plaything.
To make a plaything. Now we're not going to say what the answer is, but at the end, Mum, at the end of our chat, then you can give the answer. Give people a chance to think about it themselves.
Yeah.
Could you find that clue? Flip a bear and find a plaything. So we'll say that at the end. We're going to have a little look, Mum, at the news from 1936 to 1940, and you were 10, weren't you? And in January 1936, King George V dies. We've had to look it up because his son, King Edward the Eighth, he was king for 9 months, but he
Yes.
wasn't actually crowned.
No.
And that makes total sense. And then at the end of that year, because he wanted to marry the American
Yes, Miss Wallace
Simpson, wasn't it?
Wallace
Yeah.
Simpson, who was divorced.
That's right. So he couldn't be king if he was married
No.
to a divorcee. That's how it was then. So he had to choose. He chose to be married to Wallace Simpson,
yes.
and so then his brother became king.
King George VI.
Right.
Yes.
And King George VI was our Queen's father.
Yes.
That's it. We got that right.
Yes.
We had to look that up,
Yes.
didn't we? Because it was saying he was king, but he wasn't actually crowned.
He was never crowned as
No.
king. No.
And in February, Mum, we've got, Henry Ford doing the Ford car in America. But in February of 1936, Hitler launches his people's car, which was the Volkswagen,
yes.
the people's car. And, so there's a lot about the news about the war, what Germany and all the ghastly things going on. But I'm going to flip over, glide over
Hitler,
those.
between then and 1940, Hitler was in every bit of news somewhere in the week. Or
He must have been. You must have been hearing it, Mum, as a child, all the time. Queen Mary sails on her maiden voyage. So that was lovely.
Yes, that was a bit of history.
Yes. And then we've got a new board game. New board game just come out, July the 30th, and it's a US craze. It's called Monopoly.
Wow.
20,000 sets were being sold each week.
And it was as early as that.
Yeah, 1936.
Wow.
Yeah, our family loves Monopoly, don't they?
Yes.
We've got a big new film studio open at Pinewood. Well, that was quite near where Pete lived.
Yes.
Everything was filmed at Pinewood Studio.
It was very famous.
Yeah.
All the big films then. Yeah. Very well known films.
And then we've got this first train that drives onto the Channel Ferry.
Wow.
And so you could get on in London, stay in your carriage, it would go and be loaded onto the ferry and take you to Paris.
Oh,
amazing, isn't it?
Must have been a special part of the boat to be able to drive that on.
Yes, absolutely. And then of course the Crystal Palace, which was an amazing building, all of glass. It was caught
burned
fire.
down.
Yes. And people came from everywhere to have a look at it.
Yes, that was a disaster.
It
awful
really
disaster. Was. And that was known, it was a building that was known all over the world because people came to different things there. It's part of London.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, December 1936, Edward the Eighth renounces the crown for love.
Yes, yes.
And he said, why I need the help of the woman I love. Well, there we are.
Yes. Yes, and I believe later on they went to France, they went to live in France.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, so she was his love and he gave up his crown for love.
Yes, that's right. So...
And that was a big, big story for a long time. It just went on,
Yes, well, even up till now, it was all, yes.
Yes, it's history,
it
part
is.
of history.
Yeah, so of course that's where we get our queen, isn't it? Because her father stepped up. So 1937, Mum, all these things are happening. Hitler's hand in horrors. But then we've got the Green Belt. Now we lived really in the Green Belt.
Yes, we did.
In Southgate,
yes.
Because they wanted to stop London just sprawling.
Yes.
So this green belt was designated to go around London. Mm-hmm. It's proposed today by the London County Council. Yeah, it's going to buy open spaces in the home counties. So it partly to provide recreation and partly to curb the suburban sprawl. So I suppose we lived in the suburban sprawl, and they said no more.
We had some lovely parks.
We did, yes. We had some. It was lovely, wasn't it? Yeah. We got the coronation of George VI, the unlikely monarch. Because he had a bad stutter, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. He had to overcome that. And so that was May the 12th, Mum. May the 12th. The BBC makes its first television outside broadcast of King George's coronation procession. So we can see it, can't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
My goodness. We didn't have a television as early as that.
No.
But there we are. That was as early as that. Goodness.
Yeah. And in June, then Duke of Windsor, he weds his beloved Wallis. Oh, a new magazine out for women called...
Oh, The Woman.
Yes. You loved that, didn't you, Mum?
Oh, I loved The Woman.
You always had the woman's magazine.
I had The Woman for a long time.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of knitting patterns from The Woman, didn't we? Yeah.
And that was many, many years after that year.
Yeah. Non-Nazi parents will lose their children. And you get, in our country, the go-ahead for air raid shelters.
Oh, air raid shelters.
Yes. Now you've got horrible memories of that, haven't you, Mum?
Yes.
What are your memories?
Well, that they were so small and we were very cramped, and that during the night it was the most uncomfortable, awful place, because you couldn't go to we had buckets, and it was just horrible. But it was below ground, and they were small enough that you could build your own or have somebody else to put them in for you, because they were easy to put together.
Yeah. Yes. So there we are. And then in January of 1938, Walt Disney made his first film, his first feature-length film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Oh, I can remember seeing that, Mum.
Yeah.
We all remember it.
Yes. It's still famous now.
It is.
And the songs.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was good.
Yes. That's never gone away, the memories of that.
No German children to speak to Jews. You can't help seeing it, because every single part of it is there. Right. Chamberlain flies home and promises peace for our time. That was in 1938.
And peace in our time never came then.
No, of course not, Mum. Of course not. Well, every single page is about Hitler. Yeah, and all the different countries.
Yes.
Britain's plans to introduce conscription. 1939, Mum. Here we are.
Yes.
UK farmers are urged to dig for victory, plough up grazing pastures.
Yes.
Farmers will be paid £2 an acre to plough up and reseed pastures.
Yes.
So it's all...
Because they knew that food was going to be difficult.
That's right. And the whole of a seaside town, which we know very well, Littlehampton, the whole of it is up for sale. Why? Because it's in a possession of the Norfolk family, Duke of Norfolk, and it includes 1,100 acres of open ground. The Duke of Norfolk has sold it, and so there's going to be a new town of Littlehampton for building. And we watch Downton Abbey, don't we?
Yes.
And the Lord there at Downton Abbey said, right, we've got to sell this, we've got to sell that, because the only way we're going to get money is to sell off the land.
Yes.
But his daughter said, no, we've got to do it some
Yes.
other way. But here we've got the Duke of Good
Yes.
Norfolk selling off
Yes.
1,100 acres
My
and the
goodness.
town of Littlehampton
Yes,
being
was
built.
built in
Yeah.
in that ground.
Yes. And Littlehampton's near Bognor Regis, isn't it? And we
Yes.
used to go there,
Yes.
didn't we?
Yes.
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 From dream semis to suburban sprawl, 4 million new houses have now been built in Britain since the Great War.
Wow.
So you can own some. Over 60,000 acres a year have been used for building.
Yes.
And that's why they wanted to
Yes.
do that green belt. I think they could see the whole of
Yes.
England being built on. Oh, guess what, Mum? Judy Garland.
Oh.
She's Dorothy.
Yes.
My granddaughter, your great granddaughter, Lois. Oh, she was Dorothy,
Yes.
wasn't she, when she was a little
Yes.
girl? She absolutely. Oh, now this is you, Mum. Children lead the evacuation from cities.
Yes.
1939 August.
Oh, that was, my mother got me ready to be evacuated, and I can feel it now, I had my gas mask on my shoulder
Right.
in the little cardboard box, and we got to school where everybody was leaving to go, and she said, no, I can't let you go.
Oh.
And I didn't go, and she brought me back home.
What about your dad? How did he feel? Do you know?
Well, I think they had talked about it, but I think that their thoughts were that they wanted me to be safe, but then on the other hand, they didn't want the worry of what was going to happen to me.
They couldn't let you go.
No,
They couldn't
they
let you
couldn't let
go.
me go.
How did you
No.
feel about that, Mum?
Oh, I was pleased to be back
Were
because
you?
of the thoughts of going somewhere that I hadn't
Yeah.
even thought about, because we didn't travel, you know, the only place that we ever went was either Brighton or Southend, you know, that was the farthest I'd ever
Yes,
been.
and that was a major thing
Yes.
then, really, wasn't
Yes.
it?
Yes, so I was, but then of course I was unhappy because my dear friend, who had been friend from right when we were tiny,
Yeah.
she was evacuated.
Right.
So we were separated,
Yeah.
and we hadn't been separated for
No.
many, many years.
So here you are with a gas mask. All right, you're at home.
Yes.
School?
No, the schools then, there was only 1 or 2 schools open in different areas, so we could still go to school, but we didn't know which and who we would be with, because obviously children had been evacuated, so there wasn't enough
No.
children to fill up one school.
So here you are now, 13, Mum,
Yes.
and your schooling's virtually coming to an end,
yes,
isn't
because
it?
I would have left at 14 anyway.
Right.
So
Okay.
that year from 13 to 14 was a very funny year
Yes.
as regards school.
We've got blackouts now, Mum.
Yes, great thick black curtains.
War has stripped the National Gallery of its treasures, gone to safe storage somewhere in Wales. Yep. Do you know we've still got the depression raging here, it says. The depression is still real.
Because there were no jobs, and especially then, as every young man then was going to the army,
Yeah.
they were being called up.
Yeah. So we're going to leave it now at 1940.
Yes, that was the war really beginning then, and that was awful because everybody had to get used to the new life, and lots
Yeah.
of families without husbands, without sons.
Yeah, and children
And
being
children being
evacuated.
yes,
Yeah.
not being with them.
And January 1940 says 2 million 19 to 27-year-olds are called up. And then in January 1940, the worst storm of the century sweeps the country.
Oh,
So it was all happening
Yes.
all the ways round.
yes,
But we'll do 1940 to 1945 next time.
Yes.
So we're going to leave you with your gas mask, going for the odd day at school,
yes,
then leaving school
yes.
and starting to go to work in the
Yes.
war at 1940.
40, yes,
Yeah.
that's right. That's when I officially left school.
Yeah.
Even though I hadn't really had much schooling in that year,
Yeah.
39 to 40, but that's when I officially left school to start work.
And also then, well, next time we'll talk about war puts the British onto short rations.
Yes.
So we're
Lack of
starting all the
food.
rationing.
Yes.
Yeah. We've talked about that, haven't we? But
Yeah.
so there we are. There's a quick synopsis of 1936 through 40.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll be, well, it's going to be the war next time, but we'll be aiming towards the
Yes.
end of the war, won't
Yes. There's lots of bits and pieces
Yeah.
to talk about.
we? Yeah.
then.
So we'll see you next. Oh no! What is it, Mum?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
the answer to the flip a bear and make a plaything
Yeah.
was hoop.
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 Right.
HOOP. So I puzzled. I thought hoop. But then I realised that if you spell hoop backwards, what do you get?
Pooh.
Pooh Bear.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
Flip a hoop.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. So there we are.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a hard crossword, isn't it?
Yes.
You couldn't wait to find the
The
answer.
answer, no.
Your
And
mum
even-
usually does it all.
And even when I did find
Yeah.
it, I still had to sit and
Think about
puzzle
it.
out, yes,
Yeah.
and think about what the hoop,
Yeah, Pooh Bear.
what that had to do with
Very clever
the
crossword
bear.
clue.
Yes,
So we'll see you next time then.
yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.